ediție a emisiunii Viitorul Medicina Holistică. Stresul și anxietatea sunt subiectele pe care le vom dezbate astăzi în Centrul Medical Aura Vita, alături de doamna doctor Balan și doamna doctor Miulescu. Doamna doctor, am văzut în emisiunea trecută că dacii trăiau în armonie, în pace și iubire. Noi trăim astăzi în stres.
Da, foarte mult stres. Ați remarcat foarte bine, într-adevăr, e o mare diferență de unde am plecat și unde am ajuns. Acum, când vorbim de stres, marea majoritate ne gândim la foarte multă muncă. Adică, știți, cam asta definește stresul, multă muncă și în ritmul respectiv, adică activitate fizică de obicei, știți cum suntem pe bandă, da? Dar și activitate intelectuală excesivă și toate, cum spuneam, în ritmul acesta alert. Dar nu e întotdeauna așa. O să vedem că putem vorbi și de o situație conflictuală stresantă. Deci, de exemplu, vorbim de un stres emoțional.
Doamna doctor Balan, ce este mai exact stresul emoțional?
Este o stare de dizarmonie, este o stare, să zicem, nefirească, care perturbă energia noastră, ducând la boli, o să vedem. De exemplu, noi avem în societatea noastră, în momentul acesta, o astfel de situație stresantă, emoțională, ați văzut la televizor, este totul așa în alertă. Este o situație de un fel de luptă, un fel de conflict emoțional, cu foarte multe, cum spuneam, emoții, dar negative. Și, apropo, acestea au dus în ultima perioadă la creșterea nivelului de boală, chiar cu 35% raportat la ultimele 6 luni, statistic. Astăzi o să urmărim și de aceea v-am propus acest subiect interesant, să vedem cum ne influențează negativ stările conflictuale pe termen scurt, adică de la săptămâni la câteva luni, dar și mai ales pe termen mai lung, de exemplu 6 luni, un an.
When you're stressed, your body reacts instantly. Here are 12 of the most significant changes that happen in your body. Your heart. Each time you experience stress, your heart beats faster and you put excess strain on it. Your blood pressure. Your blood pressure increases because it's pumping extra blood, oxygen, and sugars to your muscles to supply more energy. Remember, under stress, you trigger your fight or flight response, and your body responds as though you're under attack. Whether it's real, just a perceived threat, or you're just feeling the pressure and tension from your modern-day hectic life. Your blood pressure further rises because your body also narrows and constricts your blood vessels to prevent you from bleeding to death from injury. Your blood. Your blood starts clotting, which creates blockages in your circulatory system, preventing the free flow of blood through your body. This is another way your body protects you, so if you're injured, you won't bleed to death. Here's the challenge. Your blood will clot regardless of whether or not you really are injured. Your digestion. Stress severely affects your digestion. Under stress, your body shuts or slows down any systems that aren't absolutely necessary to deal with the immediate threat. At those times, your body does not care about digesting food. It only cares about staying alive. So the blood supply to your digestive organs is slowed. This can lead to weight gain, which many of us are trying to prevent through good nutrition and exercise. So even if you're eating healthy foods, your body won't be able to properly digest that food and extract the nourishment it needs because that system has slowed down. This can also lead to increased stomach acidity. It's no wonder that you turn on the television and hear countless ads for medication that help with acid reflux and stomach acidity problems. That's why it's essential to manage your stress so your digestion can be strong and process your nutrition properly each day. Otherwise, the food will just sit there and slowly make its way out while you continue to add more food, overloading your already slow digestive system. Your immune system. Like your digestive system, your body will suppress your immune system. Under stress, your body is less concerned with fighting disease. Its main focus is fighting off or fleeing from a perceived threat. So this means you're much more susceptible to getting sick and having less physical resources to fight that sickness. When people are upset and stressed about something, have you ever heard the phrase, "That makes me sick"? Well, yes, those situations can make you sick. Really. Your breathing. When you're stressed, your breathing switches from relaxed, slow, deeper diaphragmatic breathing to fast, shallow chest breathing. This can put a strain on your lungs and can lead to hyperventilation. Anxiety and panic attacks can also accompany shallow breathing. In challenging moments, we often tell people to please take a deep breath. Now you know. That's because under stress, we breathe much more shallow, preventing our bodies from receiving the much needed oxygen to operate at its best. Your perspiration. Have you heard the phrase, don't sweat it, or don't sweat the small stuff, referring to people who are upset about so many things? Under stress, we can perspire excessively. People who are nervous and anxious often experience increased sweating. Even general nervousness can make us perspire. Your body sweats more to keep your body cool. Under stress, you put increased demands and activity on your body, and your body responds by sweating to keep us from overheating, which would really cause some serious internal damage. Your muscles. More blood flows to your muscles, giving them a burst of temporary strength. When this happens, we put pressure and strain on our muscles since they haven't been trained to actually handle the excess workload. This strain can lead to injury and over time sheer exhaustion. Most of us know that the best way to develop strength is consistent and steady weight training over time, not from pumping excess blood to our muscles and overuse from stress. Your blood sugar. Your blood sugar levels rise to provide more energy to your body. Some of our bodies are not equipped to adequately process that flood of blood sugar, and that can lead to serious health problems. Your anti-aging growth hormones. Your body reduces the flow of anti-aging growth hormones. So, as a result, our bodies age faster. Your reproductive system and sex hormones. Your reproductive systems are suppressed and you produce less sex hormones. So this can result in you feeling a drop in your libido, your sex drive. Stress interferes with the hormones needed to become sexually aroused. Your stress hormones. Under stress, your body pumps out a flood of many stress hormones. Here are just a few. Your body pumps out adrenaline and noradrenaline, which alert our body that it's in danger and increases our anxiety and fear, making our thoughts race. These stress hormones also raise our heart rate, increase our perspiration, slow our digestion, and activate various body systems to temporarily boost energy supplies. Your body also pumps out cortisol, which is considered the primary stress hormone. Cortisol increases the sugar in your bloodstream, can cause the accumulation of fat around your belly, and is responsible for slowing digestion, immunity, reproductive systems, and growth and anti-aging processes.
După cum ați văzut, corpul reacționează foarte puternic. Inima ne bate mai tare, presiunea sângelui crește pentru a asigura consumul foarte crescut de energie. Frica, furia, dezamăgirea, disperarea, fiind niște emoții care sunt foarte consumatoare de energie, sunt niște vampiri energetici, să zicem așa, și ați văzut, de exemplu, după un conflict, cum te simți tu ca individ stors, epuizat, practic fără energie. Emoțiile, deci, în exces pot să fie periculoase. Corpul răspunde ca și cum ar fi sub atac, adică e un fel de bombardament. Noi nu simțim acest lucru, considerăm că este ok, dar să știți că din punct de vedere emoțional suntem afectați. Sângele se îngroașă, după cum ați văzut în filmuleț, și se blochează chiar curgerea liberă a lui prin corp, dar și a ciului, pentru că de cele mai multe ori curgerea sângelui este asimilată cu curgerea ciului. Digestia se încetinește. Toate acestea sunt o modalitate, să zicem, pare normală, prin care corpul se apără de acest atac energetic, conflictual, emoțional, chiar dacă blochează lucruri. Pe de altă parte, dacă este pe termen scurt, este normal și este firesc să reacționăm așa, pentru că altfel putem să murim. Dar dacă este pe termen mai lung, să știți că lucrurile se complică. Și să vedem acum cum reacționează corpul dacă suntem în pericol iminent.
Hi, it's Mr. Anderson. Today I'm going to talk about the fight or flight reaction. This is one of my favorite videos on YouTube. This is from youtube.com/Russia Today. So we got this person here walking down the street. All of a sudden they realize there's a car. coming, and then they get out of the way. Now, if I were to keep playing it, the guy jumps out of the car, comes running in this direction. But basically, I want to talk about what's going on. So once this guy sees the car, how does he, number one, get out of the way? And then how does that affect his body? How does that affect the organs and the chemistry and all of that inside his body? And so that whole thing is called the fight or flight. And so when I ask students, how does he get out of the way of the car? The answer is always adrenaline. And the right answer is no, it's not adrenaline. Adrenaline's not going to be able to get there that quickly. And so how does a guy really get out of the way? Well, he's going to see the car coming. He's going to process that in his brain, and then he's going to send a message down his nervous system. That nervous system is going to be attached to muscles, and those muscles are going to have ATP ready to go. And so the way he's able to jump out of the way and not get hit by the car doesn't have anything to do with the fight or flight response. It's simply his nervous system, his muscles, and just responding to that threat immediately. But if you've ever been in a situation like that where you just barely survive an accident or something like that, all of a sudden you feel this rush of just your heart starts beating faster, you're breathing, you feel warm. Now that's part of the fight or flight response, because this guy right here, since he's living in a city, is able to just kind of walk back onto the road and keep about his business. But back in the day, if you were attacked by a mountain lion or somebody else, you had to fight now. You had to flee, or you had to attack the attacker. And so all of that is part of what's called the sympathetic nervous system, or that system inside our body that allows us to fight or flight. And so let's zoom inside this guy and talk a little bit more about how the fight or flight works. And so it's basically centered around his brain. And so in the center of his brain, near the bottom, we have something called the hypothalamus. So the hypothalamus in that area of the brain is essentially going to send a signal. Now that signal, not only are we getting signals that are going to the muscles that allow you to move, but it's going to send a signal all the way down, a nervous signal all the way down here. Because in the center of our adrenal gland, we have something called the adrenal medulla. It's connected nervously to the brain. So the moment he sees that car and realizes he might die, there's a signal being sent to the adrenal medulla, or the center of the adrenal gland. It's going to give off what's called adrenaline, and that adrenaline is epinephrine. Epinephrine is a chemical signal that is going to be attached to the circulatory system, and so it's going to course through the body. So as his heart beats faster and faster and faster, epinephrine is going to flow throughout the rest of the body. Now, epinephrine is not going to go into the cells of the body. It's simply going to, if we say this is a big liver cell, it's simply going to bind to proteins on the surface of those cells. And so what's it going to do to the liver? Well, in the liver, what it's going to do is it's going to trigger a signal transduction pathway that's going to convert glycogen that's found inside the cells of the liver, and it's going to release that as glucose. Why is it doing that? Well, glucose is our energy supply, and so now glucose is going to be coursing through our body along with epinephrine, and so now we have a supply of energy, so we can quickly break down that glucose, get ATP, and we can do more out of it. But what's interesting is that epinephrine is going to go other places in the body, and it's going to have different responses depending on where it goes. And so what is epinephrine going to do to the cells that are in control of the breathing, the cells of the lung? It's going to speed up that breathing rate. What's epinephrine going to do when it goes to the cells of the heart? It's going to speed up the rate of the heartbeat. And so it's going to trigger a signal transduction pathway in the heart that's very similar to the signal transduction pathway that we find in the liver cells. However, it's going to have a different response inside the cells. It's going to not release glucose, but it's going to increase the rate of the beating of those cardiac cells. What do you think it would happen to the digestive system? Well, epinephrine's going to go there. Epinephrine's going to go there as well. But what it's going to do is it's going to vasoconstrict, so it's going to slow down digestion. And so it's going to slow down those blood vessels that feed those areas that allow us to break down and digest food, because when you're getting out of the way of a car or fighting an attacker, you don't really need to concentrate on breaking down that bagel that you ate for breakfast. So it's going to shut that down, but it's going to go to the muscles of your body and it's going to vasodilate, and so it's going to move more blood to those areas. And so our whole body is designed so we can have one signal, that epinephrine, but it can have all these different responses throughout the rest of the body. And so that's going to allow our body to respond to that threat, and that's why your heart races, you breathe faster, your pupils dilate, all that happens, and you can thank epinephrine for that. And it's that chemical response and the different either gene expression or signal transduction pathways that we have as a result. And so I hope that's helpful.
Doamna doctor Miulescu, se pare că organismul uman, corpul fizic, este într-o permanență hemodinamică, fiziologică, apropo de procesul luptă sau fugă.
Sub această denumire, luptă sau fugi, sunt cunoscute toate reacțiile reflexe înnăscute pe care orice om le are în situații de pericol, pericolul chiar de moarte. Este practic instinctul nostru de conservare, care se manifestă instantaneu atunci când percepem un pericol iminent. Toate aceste reacții naturale sunt normale. Ele presupun autoapărare și conservarea vieții. Dar mașinăria umană are și anumite vulnerabilități, anumite butoane declanșate accidental în situații de pericol, care rămân practic pe poziția on, pe poziția de activat. Practic ele sunt apăsate și blocate în mod eronat, ca și când cineva uită să retragă comanda, să o anuleze, practic să dea comanda de relaxare, comanda de nu mai suntem în pericol, de exemplu, nu mai suntem atacați. În general, în medicina holistică s-a afirmat că bolile autoimune ar fi reacții normale, apoi nefirești, exagerate, ale apărării organismului la factori agresivi, de exemplu, factorii fizici, factorii mentali, factorii sufletești, cum sunt, de exemplu, traumele suferite în copilărie sau pe parcursul vieții, iar în cazul nostru este vorba de factorii emoționali.
Ce ar trebui să observăm însă aici, ca medici, dar mai ales și ca pacienți, este numărul foarte mare de organe care sunt implicate, de fapt, fiziologic în aceste răspunsuri la pericol, deci la frică. Practic tot corpul răspunde, cum ați văzut. Este o stare de avarie, este o stare de forță majoră, un consum foarte mare de energie pentru organism. Și totul se întâmplă foarte repede, deci de asemenea cu un mare cost energetic. Organismul poate face față ușor în rarele cazuri în care se află în pericol. Dar dacă se prelungește această stare de pericol, trebuie să știți că există o problemă deja cum corpul poate să reacționeze pe termen lung. Aici s-ar putea, într-adevăr, să existe niște probleme medicale. De ce? Pentru că societățile, de exemplu, moderne, societățile așa zise civilizate în care trăim, au început să mimeze mai mult sau mai puțin adevărate situații care sunt percepute de organism ca fiind pericol. De exemplu, nesiguranța pe care o percepem în societate, teama de șomaj, de boală, de moarte, că nu faci față financiar, de faliment, de credite, toate aceste lucruri cu care ne confruntăm. De asemenea, sunt reprezentate și percepute ca un pericol. Nedreptatea socială, sărăcia, regresiunea economică, starea precară de sănătate a familiei, a rudelor sau a societății, toate acestea sunt de fapt niște factori declanșatori. De asemenea, stările conflictuale, divizarea societății pot fi factori agresivi emoționali care intră în categoria pericol, deci pentru ființa umană. Răspunsul fizic în corp la pericol, pe termen lung, adică peste 6 luni, un an, înseamnă un dezechilibru mai mare decât am crede, înseamnă boală și chiar cancer. Doctorul Hammer subliniază acest lucru în premisele pe care el spune că se declanșează cancerul în mod normal și definește termenii declanșatori de fapt în bolile cronice gen cancer. De aceea, în societățile actuale dezechilibrate pot fi factori cauzatori, declanșatori ai stării de boală. Adică s-ar putea ca civilizația, dezvoltându-se, să fie într-un impas și anume noi singuri să ne facem rău nouă înșine.
Welcome to our segment on the long-term effects of stress. We just learned in our last segment how stress has significant physiological effects on our bodies, triggering our primal fight or flight stress response. Many of us lead stressful lives and feel the effects of stress every single day. Over time, we put excess strain on our bodies, and consistent stress can plant seeds in our body that can lead to very serious long-term illness. When life stressors are constant, our stress response, our fight or flight response, stays activated and puts excess strain on our physiology and can do some really serious damage to our bodies. It's no surprise that we hear more and more about people suffering from heart disease, stroke, cancer, diabetes, and more. Let's take a look now how consistent stress on our bodies over time contributes to these serious illnesses. Increased heart stress and blood pressure. In our last segment, we learned that each time you are stressed, you put excess strain on your heart and your blood pressure increases. This stress on your heart and circulatory system over time can lead to heart attacks and coronary heart disease. The American Heart Association states that 1 American dies every 40 seconds from cardiovascular disease. Increased blood clotting. Under stress, your blood clots, preventing the free flow of blood throughout your body. When you're stressed over time, the increases in clotting and sticky platelets in your blood can also lead to heart attacks and strokes. According to the American Heart Association, strokes account for 1 of every 19 deaths in the United States. Decreased immunity. Under stress, your immune system is suppressed. Over time, consistent activation of this stress response and reduction in your immunity can lead to cancer, infections, and other serious diseases. At the time of this video, the American Cancer Society website currently estimates that 1 out of every 2 men are at risk for developing cancer in their lifetime. The risk for women is 1 out of 3. Suppressed digestion. If you are consistently stressed, your digestive system can be suppressed. Over time, this can lead to weight gain, digestive disturbances, and even obesity. The American Heart Association estimates that 154.7 million adults are overweight or obese in the United States, and 23.9 million children ages 2 to 19 are also overweight or obese. The American Gastroenterological Association estimates that a whopping 33% of people in the United States have acid reflux disease. Increases in blood sugar. Stress increases the blood sugar throughout our bodies. Over time, these increases in your blood sugar levels can lead to diabetes, obesity, kidney failure, nerve damage, and even vision problems. The American Diabetes Association estimates that 25.8 million children and adults in the United States have diabetes. That's 8.3% of our entire population. Decreases in anti-aging growth hormones. Over time, if you are stressed regularly, your body continues to reduce the flow of anti-aging growth hormones. And there are many studies that show that the reduction of these growth hormones can lead to premature aging. So, under stress, you age faster. Reduction of sex hormones. Stress reduces our sex hormones. There is significant research on how stress affects our sex drive and libido. Long term, this can have serious impact on our self-image and relationships. We hear so much on the news about drugs that can help with sex drive. Yet, being aware of how stress can cause a low libido could also significantly help. Even more serious, UC Berkeley researchers have done studies on how chronic stress can lead to sexual dysfunction and even infertility. Recent news and studies have shown that infertility is rising. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services reports that 6.1 million women in the United States have difficulty getting pregnant. It's not just a woman's problem. Both men and women can develop problems that cause infertility. Increases in stress hormones. Regular activation of our stress response floods our bodies with stress hormones, adrenaline, noradrenaline, and cortisol, just to name a few. Over time, this can lead to anxiety, insomnia, serious memory and concentration impairment, osteoporosis, addictions, and even depression. Studies indicate that high cortisol levels over your lifetime have been found to lead to Alzheimer's disease and even senile dementia. Long-term stress is a very serious problem that can lead to serious long-term illnesses that can drastically alter our lives. It's time now to take a real look at ways to reverse the effects of stress in our lives.